Welcome to the Deep Dive Library, where you're part of this community and we're in this together.
Join us on this journey as we break down the best books on entrepreneurship, finance, and personal growth.
Stay tuned, because later I'm going to share secrets most people don't know.
By the end of each episode, you'll learn actionable insights to level up your life and business.
If you're enjoying this, hit subscribe to join thousands of listeners and never miss exclusive content. Share your thoughts. We read every message.
Okay, so today we're diving deep into something fundamental: lifelong learning. What separates those who really excel from those who just, well, stagnate?
Right. And our source material today is the audiobook, Educate Yourself Every Day and Stay Ahead of 99% People. Quite a title.
It is. Promises a lot. It talks about this hidden formula the top 1% supposedly use.
So our mission really is to unpack that formula, pull out the key insights, and figure out how you, listening right now, can apply them. For continuous growth in business, finance, personal development.
Without feeling totally overwhelmed, yeah.
Yeah.
Actionable knowledge, that's the goal.
Okay, so the book kicks off with this analogy. Two people, same starting line, but their paths go in wildly different directions over time.
And the reason, according to the book, is actually super simple, maybe even stark.
Yeah.
One person keeps learning, keeps growing. The other one stops. And stopping isn't just standing still, it's actively losing ground.
That's the brutal truth it mentions, right? Knowledge isn't static, it keeps expanding. So if you're not learning,
you're falling behind. It's like trying to stay in the same spot on an escalator going down. You have to actively walk up just to stay put.
That's a good way to put it. The world changes so fast now. What worked yesterday might be obsolete tomorrow.
Exactly. And the book really speaks to that feeling some of you might have. You're working hard, putting in the hours, but you feel kind of stuck. It suggests maybe, just maybe, the missing piece is that continuous learning, not lack of effort, but hitting a learning plateau.
It also talks about going on autopilot after school. Like, okay, got the diploma, learning phase over.
Yeah, that's a dangerous assumption, the book argues.
Yeah.
Because the world doesn't stop changing just because you finished formal education.
But here's the encouraging part, and the book makes this point too. The fact that you're listening to this, that you're engaging with these ideas.
That already puts you ahead. It shows you have that proactive mindset towards growth.
Which is the fundamental difference we're talking about. It's seeing education not as a thing you finish, but as a lifelong process.
A journey, really. An opportunity, not just an obligation.
So let's dig into that mindset piece from chapter 1. The book says the real difference maker isn't luck or even raw talent,
but your attitude towards learning itself. It really challenges that idea that education ends with school.
It argues the real education, the self-directed kind, actually starts after school.
Which makes sense, given how fast things change. You have to keep learning to avoid being left behind.
And it says the top 1%, they don't just see learning as necessary, they see it as a privilege, a lifelong commitment.
Exactly. They value it intrinsically. It's not a chore, it's something they actively want to do.
This naturally leads into Carol Dweck's work on fixed versus growth mindsets. How does the book frame that?
Well, it presents them as these two core belief systems. The fixed mindset is basically believing your intelligence, your abilities, they're just set in stone.
So failure means, see, I'm just not smart enough.
Right. You avoid challenges because failure feels like proof of your limits. But the growth mindset, that's different.
That's the belief that skills come from practice. Intelligence can grow.
That mastery comes from persistence. Failure isn't the end, it's feedback. Challenges are chances to get better.
And the book gives this super simple, actionable tip for shifting towards growth.
Oh yeah, the yet trick.
Explain that.
So when you catch yourself thinking, I'm just not good at this, you consciously add the word yet at the end. I'm just not good at this yet.
It seems small, but it changes the whole frame.
Totally. It implies potential, a path forward, not a dead end.
Yeah.
It's a little language hack with a big impact.
Okay, then there's curiosity. The book calls it a superpower.
Yeah, because curiosity is what drives you to ask questions, to experiment, to explore beyond the surface level.
It points to people like Musk, Buffett, Steve Jobs.
And says their common thread was this intense curiosity. They didn't just accept things, they wanted to know why and how.
It feels like sometimes society kind of discourages asking too many questions, especially as adults.
It can. But the book argues that's a mistake. Nurturing that inner why is key for high achievers.
So the actionable takeaway is basically start questioning everything.
Pretty much. Yeah. Don't just passively receive info. Ask how things work. Challenge assumptions. What if we did it differently? That keeps the learning engine running.
And then there's the fear of failure. That's a big one. Stops people cold.
Huge. The book really tries to reframe it. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's like part of the process, a necessary stepping stone.
Every expert started as a beginner, right? Made mistakes.
Exactly. So instead of seeing failure as this final verdict, see it as data, as a lesson.
And the action step is simple. When you fail, ask.
What did this teach me? That question shifts you from feeling defeated to extracting value from the experience.
Finally, for mindset, the book hits on self-discipline, making learning a habit, not just something you do when you feel motivated.
Yeah, this is crucial. Motivation comes and goes. It's unreliable. Discipline is what keeps you going on the days you don't feel like it.
It's about building the habit, the routine.
Right. Make learning non-negotiable, even if it's just for 15 minutes a day. That consistency builds the discipline muscle.
Okay, let's move to chapter 2. The power of reading books. This feels almost old school, but the book makes a strong case.
Definitely. It positions books as this incredible gateway to the best minds, the biggest breakthroughs throughout history, like direct access to wisdom.
And it stresses that successful people don't just read. They read strategically. They read to grow.
Yeah, it's not just about passive consumption. It's active engagement with ideas to expand your own thinking. That consistent, thoughtful reading gives you a serious edge.
Why do the most successful people read daily? The book gives examples, right?
Oh, yeah. Gates reading 50 books a year. Buffett spending, 80% of his day reading?
Wow.
Elon Musk learning rocket science, reportedly, from textbooks. It shows they see it as a fundamental investment in themselves.
And again, it's the consistency. Small daily reading habits, not just occasional binges.
Exactly. Even 10-15 minutes a day compounds massively over time. It's like intellectual compound interest.
What about the fiction versus nonfiction debate? Does the book take a side?
Not really take a side, more like advocates for balance. Nonfiction gives you the practical stuff, strategies, skills, business knowledge.
The how-to.
Right. But fiction, the book argues, is vital too. It shapes your imagination, helps you understand human nature, builds empathy, emotional intelligence.
Skills that are maybe softer but super important.
Increasingly so. So the idea is you need both for really well-rounded growth.
Okay, but time is always an issue. Does the book talk about reading faster or retaining more? Speed reading and stuff.
It touches on it. Reading smarter, not just harder. It mentions techniques like skimming, chunking text, reducing subvocalization, that little voice in your head.
But speed isn't everything. You have to actually remember it.
Precisely. Retention is key. So the book stresses active engagement. Take notes, highlight things, talk about what you read, teach it to someone else. That makes it stick.
Any specific book recommendations for personal growth?
It suggests categories. Personal development classics like Atomic Habits, The Power of Now, 7 Habits. For business, maybe The Lean Startup or The Hard Thing About Hard Things.
And for communication or EQ?
Things like How to Win Friends and Influence People or Goleman's Emotional Intelligence. The main idea is to pick books that challenge you and push your growth.
And how do you build a reading habit that actually lasts?
Consistency. Start small, really small, like 10 minutes. Make it enjoyable. Pick books you're genuinely curious about.
Don't force yourself to read something boring just because you think you should.
Exactly. And maybe track your progress. A reading log, an app, whatever works for you. Seeing how much you've read can be really motivating. Celebrate hitting milestones.
Okay, chapter 3 gets into consistency and small daily habits again. This seems like a recurring theme.
It's central to the book's whole philosophy. Lasting success doesn't come from giant leaps. It comes from those small, everyday actions done over and over.
It directly challenges the myth of overnight success.
Totally. We see the result, the big win, but we miss the years of consistent, unglamorous effort that went into it. That daily grind.
And these small habits, the beauty is they don't need massive willpower, right? They're sustainable.
That's the key. Reading 10 pages a day, manageable. Reading 500 words, doable. Over a year, that adds up incredibly. It's the compound effect in action.
Small inputs, huge outputs over time. How does the book suggest building these lasting habits?
Again, start tiny. Make it almost impossible not to do it. Set a specific time and place. Anchor it to an existing routine if you can.
Like after I brush my teeth, I'll read for 10 minutes.
Exactly. Be consistent. Track it. Be patient. It takes time. And reward yourself when you stick to it. Reinforce the behavior.
The book also says willpower is overrated, that systems are more important.
Yeah, this is a big one. Willpower is finite. It runs out. You can't rely on it day after day. Successful people, the book argues, build systems.
Like routines, structures.
Right. Things that automate the right actions so you don't need willpower as much. Like prepping your workout clothes the night before makes going to the gym easier. That's a system.
It removes the friction.
Precisely. Systems make the desired behavior the path of least resistance.
And back to the compound effect, that 1% better each day idea.
The math is compelling. Improving just 1% daily means you're theoretically 37 times better after a year. Apply that to learning, skills, health, anything. It's powerful.
Let's shift to chapter 4, focus. Something that feels like a scarce resource these days.
Oh, absolutely. The book basically says the modern world is engineered to steal your attention. Notifications, pings, infinite scrolls.
It's a constant battle. And the book argues that real, meaningful achievement requires winning that battle, taking control of your focus.
Definitely. The ability to concentrate deeply is presented as a master skill for high achievers. It's a huge differentiator when everyone else is scattered.
What about multitasking? So many people think they're good at it.
The book busts that myth pretty hard. It cites research showing multitasking tanks productivity by up to 40%, lowers IQ temporarily, increases stress.
You're not really doing multiple things at once, are you?
No, you're just switching rapidly between tasks, and each switch costs you mental energy and time. It takes, what, like 23 minutes to fully refocus after a distraction?
Wow, that adds up fast. So single tasking is the way.
That's the recommendation. Full attention on one thing. That's how deep quality work gets done.
And the main culprit for distractions is often our devices, the hidden enemy.
Yep, phones, email, social media, they're designed to be addictive, to hijack our attention. The book mentions people checking their phones 150 plus times a day on average.
That constant checking fragments our attention. We feel busy, but are we actually getting important stuff done?
Often not. The solution offered is to be intentional about creating a distraction-free zone. Turn off notifications, use Do Not Disturb, set specific times to check messages, don't just react all day.
This leads to the idea of deep work. What is that exactly?
Deep work is about engaging in cognitively demanding tasks, focused and without distraction, for extended periods. It's where breakthroughs happen. But it's a skill you have to train.
How do you train it?
Eliminate distractions, obviously. Have a ritual to get into the zone. Set a clear goal for the session. Use time blocking, like the Pomodoro technique. Work intensely for, say, 25 minutes. With a short break.
So it's about structuring focused time.
Right, building that muscle of sustained concentration.
And the chapter also mentions the power of saying no. How does that relate to focus?
It's crucial for protecting your focus. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, a meeting, a request, a distraction, you're implicitly saying no to your deep, important work.
Billionaires are apparently very good at guarding their time.
Extremely. Saying no to things that don't align with your priorities frees up the mental space and time you need to focus on what truly matters. No to distractions, no to energy vampires, no to low-value tasks.
Okay, final chapter we're covering, chapter 5. Self-discipline, the secret weapon.
Yeah, and again, it contrasts discipline with motivation. Motivation is fickle, like a fire that needs constant fuel. Discipline is the engine that keeps going even when the fire's low.
So forget waiting to feel motivated.
Pretty much. Success comes from doing the work even when you don't feel like it. That's discipline.
How does it work? Is it just gritting your teeth?
The book frames it more as a learned skill, like building muscle. You practice overriding short-term impulses for long-term gains. Each time you do, you strengthen that discipline muscle. You actually rewire your brain slightly.
Start small with discipline too, then.
Absolutely. Don't try to become a disciplined machine overnight. Pick one small area, practice consistently, then build from there.
What's the no excuse rule?
It's about taking ownership. Excuses just reinforce avoiding discomfort. Disciplined people, the book says, cut out the excuses. They commit and follow through.
Like that don't think, just do idea to beat procrastination.
Exactly. Overthinking gives excuses time to creep in. Just start the action.
And the chapter ends with this powerful framing, the pain of regret versus the pain of discipline.
Yeah, it's a stark choice. Discipline involves some discomfort now, pushing through resistance. But lack of discipline often leads to the much deeper, longer-lasting pain of regret, later what could have been.
choose your pain, basically.
Right. The temporary pain of effort leads to the results you want. The book argues discipline actually creates more freedom and options down the line.
So bringing this all together for everyone listening in our deep dive community, what's the big takeaway?
I think it's that leveling up isn't about some magic bullet or waiting for inspiration. It's about the steady, consistent application of these core ideas.
Continuous learning, growth mindset, building habits like reading, mastering focus, developing that self-discipline.
Exactly. It's the fundamentals, done consistently.
Think about just one small thing you can do today, that 1% improvement. Maybe read one page. Focus for 10 minutes without checking your phone. Catch one fixed mindset thought and add yet.
That small step, repeated, that's the engine of real growth.
Now, the audiobook obviously goes deeper into things like building confidence, relentless execution, the specific traits of the 1%. This deep dive is really just scratching the surface.
Definitely. We encourage you to explore these ideas further. Maybe check out the audiobook itself and really think how they apply to your goals in business, finance, or just personal growth.
And that secret I promised at the start.
Yes, the secret.
It's not some hidden technique. The real secret that most people miss is simply the consistent day in, day out application of these principles. Learn, adapt, focus, persevere. That's it.
It's simple, but not easy. That's the discipline part.
So what stood out to you from all this? What questions popped up? We genuinely love to hear your thoughts and how you might use these insights. Send us your messages seriously. We read every single one.
Thank you for joining us in the Deep Dive Library. Remember, you're part of this community, and we're definitely in this together. Keep learning, keep growing.
And we'll see you on the next Deep Dive.